it took quite a long time from getting in the ambulance, getting to the hospital. Luckily, I had a great surgeon and I had so much pain medication at that point. I was kind of out of it.
Simon Cowell was the ruthless king of television. He was the reason for the success behind American Idol, The X Factor, and Got Talent. His shows transformed unknown voices into global stars, making him one of the most powerful figures in entertainment. But what if I told you the man who built an empire used to cry alone in a bathroom? That the same man who mocked others on stage was nearly destroyed by scandal and life-threatening accidents? This is the side of Simon Cowell the world was never meant to see. It all began in his childhood, the childhood scars. Born in 1959 in Lambeth, London, Simon Cowell's life looked glamorous from the outside. His mother, Julie Brett, was a ballet dancer, and his father, Eric Cowell, worked in the music industry. Both were busy with their careers and couldn't give Simon the attention he needed. Even Simon admitted, "My father never said, 'I'm proud of you,' even when I needed it the most." The lack of affection from his parents left deep scars and fueled his hunger for recognition in the world. At school, Simon wasn't a good student either. At Radlett Preparatory and Dover College, he often struggled and got into trouble with teachers. He left school with only 2 GCEs, feeling disappointed and like he had failed. Out of pity, Simon's father got him a job in EMI's mailroom. There, Simon carried coffee for producers who didn't even know his name and sorted fan mail for stars who filled stadiums, while he felt like no one noticed him. "I was invisible in a world obsessed with the spotlight," he later said. Feeling humiliated, he decided to quit, but after facing rejection outside, he had no choice but to return. Simon admitted that he sometimes cried in the bathroom after work, afraid his life had peaked before it even started. But that pain lit a fire inside him. The loneliness from his childhood had made him tougher. The boy who once longed for affection decided he would make the world notice him. Early career gamble. By the early 1980s, Simon left the mailroom to chase his dream. He risked everything and, with a few partners, launched Fanfare Records. At first, it worked. Sunita's So Macho became a hit, and Simon finally started to get the recognition he had always wanted. For a moment, it looked like he had broken free. But things changed quickly. The music market shifted, and by the end of the decade, Fanfare collapsed. The offices shut down, contracts disappeared, and Simon faced bankruptcy. Friends left him, debts piled up, and the empire he thought he was building crumbled to dust. Humiliated, he moved back into his parents' home, retreating to the same childhood bedroom. Simon said, "That time nearly broke me." It was as if his greatest fear of being invisible had come true all over again. And yet, the fall of Fanfare became his toughest teacher. Simon began to study not just music, but what truly made audiences connect with the speaker. He realized that respect meant nothing if he couldn't sell enough records. "I learned the hard way," he said. "Sell records first, earn respect later." The failure of Fanfare was not his end, but his rebirth. He would rise again, not by chasing artistry, but by mastering the formula of connection, clawing back from the bottom. Returning to the industry in the 1990s, Simon joined BMG. However, he wasn't seen as a visionary, but as a failure. He had to fight his way back. This time, Simon had one focus: hits. He signed acts that critics laughed at, including Robson and Jerome, Five, and Westlife. While critics mocked them, they sold millions of records. For Simon, success wasn't about praise from experts. It was about connecting with the masses. Still, he lived in fear that another collapse could take it all away. In 2001, Pop Idol premiered in the UK with Simon as a judge. His blunt comments shocked viewers, but the audience loved them. What critics called rudeness, people saw as honesty. His sharp tongue and refusal to sugarcoat failure made him one of television's most unforgettable judges. Then, in 2002, American Idol launched in the US, and Simon's fame exploded. Millions tuned in, not just for the singers, but for Simon's verdicts. His cutting remarks and brutal honesty made him an icon. Soon, he created The X Factor and Got Talent. shows that spread across the globe. At his peak, more than 600 million people in over 100 countries tuned in to watch his shows. The press even crowned him the most powerful man in television. The same sharpness that made him famous also made him hated. Fans booed him in public. "I knew people hated me," Simon later admitted, "but I couldn't pretend to be someone I wasn't." The empire he built came at a cost. Long hours and endless pressure consumed his life. Success filled his bank account, but emptied his personal world. Friends drifted away, relationships failed, and even at the height of applause, Simon confessed he often felt completely alone. The Lauren Silverman scandal. In 2013, Simon's world nearly collapsed under the weight of controversy. Headlines exploded that he was expecting a child with Lauren Silverman, the wife of his close friend Andrew Silverman. The news spread like wildfire, and overnight, Simon went from judge to defendant in the court of public opinion. Friends who once stood by him began to distance themselves, and people started to lose their trust in him. For a man who had built an empire on control, it was the most powerless moment of his life. He admitted with honesty, "It was not something I'm proud of." For the first time, the man who judged others was getting criticized by others. But then, everything changed. In 2014, Simon's son, Eric, was born. With fatherhood came a new perspective. "My priorities changed completely," Simon confessed. "My world wasn't about ratings anymore. It was about him." The ruthless businessman began to soften. Eric gave Simon a reason to slow down, to care, and to love. The accidents that nearly ended it all. But in August 2020, fate nearly silenced him. Simon was testing a powerful e-bike in Malibu when he slipped and crashed. The accident shattered his spine. After 6 hours of surgery and a steel rod placed in his back, doctors warned that one wrong move could leave him unable to walk. Simon afterward admitted, "I came within a minute of not making it." What broke him most wasn't the pain. It was the thought of leaving his son, Eric. Recovery was brutal, even standing up required help, but his love for Eric pushed him to keep fighting. Just as he regained strength, tragedy struck again. In 2022, he suffered another e-bike crash, breaking his arm and his face. Twice brought down by fate, Simon finally realized that life was more important than empire. "It changed me in every possible way," he confessed. For the first time, Simon began to see that true power wasn't in money, but in simply being alive for the people who mattered most. Simon Cowell in the eyes of the world. Simon's journey slowly changed how people saw him. Back in 2013, when news of his affair made headlines, reactions were mixed. Some felt betrayed, others were simply disappointed. Then, in 2020, after his near-fatal e-bike accident, something shifted. Fans worldwide flooded social media with support and sympathy. His pain reminded fans that even the most powerful can fall, but ridicule wasn't far behind. In 2021, Simon underwent a series of cosmetic procedures. When photos of his altered appearance spread online, the internet exploded with memes. Comments like, "What happened to Simon's face?" trended worldwide. The once feared judge had suddenly become the one being judged. For a man who had built his career on image and sharpness, it hurt him deep. And yet, time softened the cruelty. As years passed, empathy began to replace the mockery. Fans started to see not just the ruthless critic, but the man beneath, the one carrying scars and battling insecurities. His struggles made him relatable in a way his empire never could. Which part of Simon's journey inspired you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos like this. Until then, see ya.